What's going on, guys? Game Taco here. So, recently had 10k subs on YouTube. That's cool, right? Thank you so much, each and every one of you. I just wanted to make this little intro thing to kind of shout out to all of you guys. You guys are freaking amazing. I love all of you. Thank you for all the support that you give me, all the comments that you've left, all the constructive criticism, recommendations, all that jazz. It's just been so helpful. I never thought I would make it to 10k. It's always been like this thing way off in the future, I thought I would, kind of level out to like 5k or something, if I would even make it that far. And here I'm just so glad that I've been completely wrong. The Monster Hunter community is so supportive, and it's just unlike anything else in the industry. And I really appreciate all the help that you guys have given me to reach that 10k mark. It's been kind of like a personal milestone of mine. So I just want to thank you all for that. And a shout out to all the people in Team Taco and all the people that use the TeamSpeak. You guys are freaking hilarious. Like, seriously, you guys are so funny. Every time I go into the TeamSpeak, it's a freaking riot. I don't get it. It's just too funny. I highly recommend everybody go in there and introduce yourselves. It's a really cool group of people that frequent the TeamSpeak. So, love to get a chance to talk to you all in there. But anyway, I'm gushing. So, in honor of 10k subs on YouTube and 1k followers on Twitch, I'd like to present a project that I've been working on for quite a while. Probably since before Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate has released. Well, I'm just going to get right into it. It's called Monster Spotlight. This episode is on the Fatalis, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Welcome to Monster Hunter Spotlight. Today we'll be going over the Fatalis, one of the most feared creatures in all of the Monster Hunter world. Let's begin with a short history lesson. The first Fatalis was introduced in Monster Hunter for PS2 in 2004. It was an online-only monster, meaning you had to connect to servers in order to actually fight it with your group. And you would want a group because, well, we all know how Monster Hunter has aged and how broken it is. But that's besides the point. The point is that you can't actually fight Fatalis legitimately on a copy of Monster Hunter anymore because the online servers were taken down. What you're seeing now is me derping around getting myself killed because I used Codebreaker to put myself in a Fatalis quest. That is the only way you could actually fight it on the original Monster Hunter game for PlayStation 2 right now. Other similar monsters that you could only fight online include Lao Shen and the Kirin. In 2005, Monster Hunter G was released. This was essentially an expansion to Monster Hunter that was released only in Japan. It featured a new species of Fatalis, the Crimson Fatalis, that we all know and love from 4 Ultimate. However, those outside of Japan didn't see Crimson until Freedom was released on PSP in 2006. In 2006, another Fatalis species was introduced, the White Fatalis. This guy was thunder-based, and he appeared outside of Japan in Freedom 2 in 2007. The name Fatalis has a dual meaning, as do most monsters in Monster Hunter. Fata, which is Latin for destiny or fate, as well as fatal, which should be pretty obvious. The Japanese name for Fatalis, Mirabilis, is Latin for miraculous. Let's look at Fatalis' role in Monster Hunter. Basically, Fatalis was the endgame, and his role as a dragon reflects that in its entirety. According to a quote on the wiki, and yeah, I know how reliable that is, the Fatalis could scorch the entire world within a few days. Never mind a larger monster, such as Lao Shen Moon or the Dalamater, the Fatalis would eat their face. Take this other reputable quote from the wiki that says the Fatalis would melt the armor of fallen prey onto its own shell, like it's bathing in some sort of molten corpse. Basically, the Fatalis was originally designed as one of the hardest monsters in the game, and the lore reflects that, even if it was more so the game mechanics that made him difficult. Not to mention the area that it's in. It's called Castle Shrade, and honestly, there doesn't seem to be much left of it. The wiki says it's in the Kingdom of Shrade, which, judging from the backgrounds, is desolate and in ruins. All this does for me is bring more questions, like why did Fatalis do this, and why is it confined to just this area? In fact, there is a legend referring to a unique Fatalis that has 6 horns and a glowing blue chest. Kind of like this, right? This is footage from Monster Hunter Frontier, and it's actually a new type of Fatalis that has adapted an element called the Black Flame. The Black Flame is essentially fire and dragon, and it has transmogrified the host creature, in this case the Fatalis. This new element isn't as unique as it sounds though, as Monster Hunter Frontier has nearly a dozen different elements, and I say that word lightly, which they're really just a combination of normal fire, water, thunder, ice, and dragon elements. So now that we've went through the lore and history of Fatalis, let's take a look at the moves it can employ so we can get a better sense of how to fight it. In this video, we'll mainly be looking at the Black Fatalis and the Crimson Fatalis, because that's all that's available outside of Japan right now. We will look at the White Fatalis in a separate video when it releases as DLC. Keep in mind this is for Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, so there may be slight differences if you play other games in the series. Fighting a giant dragon might seem easy, but trust me, Fatalis is anything but a walk in the park, especially if you're in G rank. Currently, in 4 Ultimate, the only G rank Fatalis available is Crimson, and there is a high rank version of both. Black Fatalis' weakness is Dragon by a large amount, so I'd stick with your favorite Dragon weapon. Crimson's weakness is Ice and Dragon, but I tend to stick with my Megala Blades because of the high Dragon and affinity. In terms of skills and preliminary items, I find Tremor Resistance quite useful because of Fatalis' ability to slam him to the ground. Other than that, the skills are mainly up to you and how you play. He does a lot of fire damage, so personally I gem in Fire Resistance, and I eat for Fire Resist too. This boosts my fire from -7 to 23, which has saved me on more than one occasion. I know a lot of people like to eat for Moxie, which is fine, but that's a once and done thing. I like to have sustained defense. Another skill I like to eat for is Feline Defender High, which will save you potions if you already have Fire Resistance. Regular old Black Fatalis has a bunch of deadly and quite terrifying moves. His signature move, the Snap and Drag, is a 2-step move where Fatalis will crawl in front of him at a high speed. This has been in every Monster Hunter, and before 4 Ultimate it was terribly unbalanced because his entire body would do maximum damage. Now it's only fatal if you're in front of him when he does it. Probably the most memorable move would be what is essentially a Hyper Beam from Pokemon if it were doused in Raging Hellfire. It's very similar to Dalamander's Hyper Beam, you just need to super dive through it by holding R and jumping. If you're a dual blader or melee class like I am, the safest spot is probably next to Fatalis' right knee. If you're on his left side, then you'll probably get hit by one of his tail swipes, which can be quite annoying. It doesn't do as much damage as some of his other moves, but it leaves you vulnerable to get hit by another attack, so it's important not to get hit by it. On the right side, you can still be hit by some of his turns, but you'll take much less damage. One thing I feel the need to bring up is about his tail. You can't cut it off, and attacking his tail is doing basically nothing except dulling your weapon. Stick to its legs, don't hit the tail. When he falls over and his head is low to the ground, try to get a few hits in on his face because that is his weakest spot. One of his other attacks is a very, very large fireball. This hurts a lot. If you hug him, it's not likely you'll get thwacked by this. Needless to say, if you stay out from in front of him, you won't take nearly as much damage. Another attack he has is a generic body slam, but boy does it hurt. Sometimes the hitbox can nip you even if you're in the safe spot that I mentioned, so just watch your positioning and his animations for when he rears up on his hind legs. If you're fighting in Casual Trade, you should know that there's a Dragonator on the side. Climb up the stairs or wall and you can operate it. It's useful for cranking out some damage to the Fatalis, but it is a pain to lure him over there. He never seems to follow me, and usually somebody on the team doesn't get the memo that we're trying to use the Dragonator. Typically he'll fall down after being speared, so that's another opportunity to jump in on his head. Fatalis can be ridden too, so insect glaives are useful. Since I don't use glaives, the only way I can get a mount on him is to jump off the ledges. He's not too difficult to rodeo, he does 2 roars in a row though, so keep that in mind and hold onto your R button. Now I know that was brief for Fatalis, but that was just high rank Black Fatalis. The real challenge is the G rank Crimson Fatalis. Crimson Fatalis differs in several ways, but one of the most annoying things about fighting him is the arena you're actually in. Instead of Casual Trade, you're in a volcano, which means you'll need cool drinks. You also need to watch out for these solar flare looking things that travel up and down the arena. If you get hit by one, you'll get set on fire and your health will drop very, very quickly. You'll either need to roll several times or run through a steam bomb. Note that these are only in G rank Crimson. It's just a regular volcano for the single player high rank version. So what can you expect from G Crimson? Well, as I said before, he's now weak to ice. He basically has all the moves from high rank Fatalis with a few extras. Also, his moves will do significantly more damage. Currently I have about 690 defense, and some of his moves will take me down to just a few pixels from full health. He is strong, and you'll need to keep yourself fully healed and watch your teammates like hawks. Don't be afraid to use life powders when appropriate. Sometimes there's just no avoiding certain dooms, so you'll have to put aside your differences with your team and look out for each other. Make sure someone isn't sitting away hacking at the tail either, because at that point they're basically fodder. Crimson also has several additional moves. From what I noticed, he will now occasionally fly at party members. If you see him take off into the air, you'll know if he's about to do this, so try to roll out of the way or under and past him. His flying attack will take me down to about 1/5 of my health. Another crucial difference Crimson has is the ability to rain meteors down on the battlefield. This is very similar to the fight with the Dire Moralis. Watch out for the glowy spots on the ground and don't go under them. If you do get hit by them, you're going to be set on fire, so have fun rolling around so close to the Fatalis. Crimson Fatalis can also inflict you with blast just like the Black Fatalis. Instead of this time, he fans them out with his wings so the range is much further. One last tip I have for you is to watch out for the body slam, because it will literally kill you in one hit. Now I know what you're thinking, I haven't gotten the bows, and if you're a bow user, sorry, but I'm not going to be much help to you. Maybe you can take a look into the comments and see if somebody can help you down there. I will say though that Fatalis has a lot of long range attacks, so it's still a bad idea to stay in front of him. You're probably going to want to stay up to the side of him, but he can turn his head and fireball very quickly, so just be ready to roll out of the way. So after the Fatalis dies, make sure you're near its head when it's ready to carve. Crouch and carve, and once you got 3 carves from the head, roll once towards its body, crouch, and carve 3 more times. Once you get those 3, you have 3 more carves from the lower body, but you have to be super fast to carve them all. You'll have just enough time. The armor for Fatalis and Crimson Fatalis look pretty sweet. Crim-G armor gives attack, large, edgelord, fury, and minus 15 points in defense. Fortunately, that minus to defense hurts pretty badly, but the other skills are solid, so this might be useful in a mixed set. Although it's not available right now, the G-Rank Fatalis armor is really freaking awesome for larger, more damaging weapons. It has sheathing, sharpness, brutality, which is a tenderizer with 15% affinity, 6 points in handicraft, and minus 13 points to fast charge. It seems like it'd be really good for a greatsword or something, but it also looks awesome, so it definitely works for all those fashion hunters out there, like me. Well, that about does it for Fatalis. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this new series called Monster Spotlight. I know it's a little bit different direction than what I usually do, but I've really wanted to make this for a very long time. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting all my content. Thank you just for everything that you guys do, for commenting, for subbing, for leaving likes on a video, you know, for sharing this with all your friends, sharing them on Twitter, following me on Twitter, you know, following me on Twitch, you know, interacting with me in the TeamSpeak server, joining Team Taco, you know, all that jazz. It's just freaking amazing, and I love all you guys. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to reading your comments down below. I will read all of them later. So thank you so much, and until next time, I'll see you then.